So the billboard I would have is basically saying that if you want to be successful,
I hope they're in. I hope they're stuck in a traffic jam.
no, but I'm going to summarize it.
Oh, right, okay.
If
Just
you
so
want
there's
to
so
be,
many road accidents, it'll be a joke. Everyone's just like, it's not even like. Right, remember when they put really hot girls on the billboard somewhere in the UK, and they had to take them down because it was causing loads of accidents.
crashes, really.
You also be the same, but people are just reading like it's just. Why were you late for work? Oh, I was reading Mark's billboard.
The actual Bible, yeah.
This is the Extra 10% Podcast, helping you get paid tomorrow for what you do today. Invite John Holowaty and Mark Hudson to join you at the breakfast table, ride with you to work, or just randomly stumble across them in the afternoon. Let's get the extra 10% out of your day.
How's it going, John?
Yeah, it's going well.
I did the same thing, right? I'm going to tell them. I'm going to own up. The same thing I did like 2 weeks ago is we've been talking for like 10 minutes. And then I realized, hold on a minute, the little red dot in the corner isn't blinking at me. Oh, God. I haven't clicked record again. So we've said...
You had clicked it, hadn't you?
No, I hadn't. I think I'd clicked
You hadn't.
I don't know. At the end of the day, we'll start it now. And so
we were saying you've had a great week. And
I've had a great week. I've been very excited about the fact that everybody is embracing Zoom. So I'm sort of repeating myself here to you and I, but to the listeners, it's new. Basically, before this, people were sort of scared to jump on Zoom and stuff. But now, coronavirus, one of the great things about it is that people are jumping on Zooms and talking to us face to face, and we're able to share our screens a lot easier because they have to. That they don't have this option of kind of hiding behind a screen. Now people are at home and they have to jump on Zoom to kind of see things. And so I'm loving that people are embracing the technology. So this week I've been doing a lot of meetings, face to face. So what have you been up to this week?
No, you're spot on as well with your comment. I've been saying like the world has been trained on how to use Zoom. Their share price has tripled.
Has it really? That's what I was going to say before we realized.
I remember saying that Zoom launched on the stock exchange about 2 years ago, and I remember predicting that it'd go nuts, and it did when it first launched. And did I buy any? No, I didn't. Do I regret it? Yes, I do, because obviously it's gone through the roof. So doesn't matter. I think this is a good point. Like, it doesn't matter if you were right if you didn't put any money in.
Yeah, true enough.
So it's like, it's no use me going, yeah, I was right about that. But it's almost like these guys that do football betting, and they're like, I knew Tottenham would have won. I told everybody, oh, right, did you put money on it? No, well, pointless.
And also, it's similar to like when people say, oh, I came up with that idea.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but you weren't whatever he's called, James Dyson, and actually implement the Dyson Hoover. You know what I mean? Like, I think Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it, that ideas are basically nothing and execution is everything. So you could have 100 amazing ideas and don't execute on one. All it takes is one person to have a mediocre idea and they execute on it and they win every time.
Yeah. That was my thing about Zoom. So I'd love to know if I interviewed somebody that was like, I'd love to interview someone who's a top boss of a massive company, maybe in the city. I'd love their thoughts now on what's going on. Are they thinking, do you know what, when this is over, we're actually going to shut down the office. We're going to employ people to work from home. We're going to cut down our manpower because we don't need as many people, because you can do much more on Zoom than you can face to face. So like one sales rep could do 10 sales calls in a day by totally eliminating traffic journeys and all that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It'd be interesting to see if people have cottoned on to that. They're like, actually, we can halve our manpower and we can get everyone to work from home, because the world has been trained to use Zoom. They've been forced to get out of the comfort zone, because we've been using it for years and people are like, oh, I don't want to put my camera on. And I've noticed now on the calls, more people are putting their cameras on.
Right, I get it. Yeah.
Like, more normal. It's almost like, I remember Facebook. I remember back in 2010, 2011, when I first joined Facebook, and I remember chatting to people about it, and they were like, no way am I joining Facebook. I'm not telling everybody what I'm doing. Well, you don't do it anyway, right? Just because you've got an account doesn't mean they only know what you post, right? But they're like, oh, I'll never join. And it won't be around forever. And now it's the norm. And Zoom will become the norm forever. And you were saying like the other week that you've got this thing now where the camera will follow you around. I'm sure Zoom will bring that kind of contraption out and you'll be able to do live. People will be playing tennis on Zoom with an imaginary ball.
Yeah.
So
also with that portal thing, they've released it started off just like WhatsApp calling. And then because of the coronavirus, I guess they put a lot of energy into developing the more tech for it. So Facebook now, what you can do with that portal is you can actually go live on pages. So you can, you know what I mean? You can go live. So that would be pretty cool for people, I'm sure.
Cool. So the Zoom thing I get, and it's been great for our business for years anyway, but I had a realization today that I'm never going to have to ever do a meeting in a hotel and speak to like 6 people. Like my business in the early days was built on hotel meetings, filling a room, trying to invite everybody, every man and their dog, if dogs were allowed in the hotel, to a meeting room to then do a presentation. Now it's hard enough to get somebody to commit to come to a meeting when you give them months in advance, but when it's a week before and the weather kicks in, it's either, I remember having an event in Leeds one time and it was going to be packed. We had 100 people confirmed and it was a beautiful summer's evening. It was around about this time of the year, beautiful springtime evening, like a hot summer's evening in spring. And nobody came. Like 100. The girl whose event it was literally crying her eyes out, devastated, because everyone was like, "Nah, I'm not going sitting in a hotel room now when the sun's out. Like I'm having a barbecue." So this Zoom thing has literally just shortened the excuse list. It's like made everyone's excuses invalid. Like everyone could sit at home, watch the presentation online, and something you touched on was the ability to share your screen. Means you can build up so much credibility in the bank. You can share videos, you can share statistics, you can share stories, you can interview other people. It's just an amazing tool, and I think it's going to be a mainstay forever now. And our business completely changed, and I'm buzzing about it because I've done more meetings this week, more one-to-one meetings, more opportunity meetings, more product meetings than I've ever done in my whole career. Our business has doubled by 152% on last month, the volume. And it's because people have been forced to use Zoom and they're not allowed to go anywhere. So everyone's literally, I want something to do. I want to focus on my health. I want to focus on a plan B. So Zoom is definitely the future. And
also it goes back to first principles of like, what is the point of the hotel meeting? It's to get a message across, get someone excited and share like the information. So it doesn't matter whether, like, if you could, you would click your fingers and that info would be in someone else's head, right? That's actually what you want, but that doesn't exist just yet. So then you think, okay, so it's literally just like, what's the outcome I want? Not the path. It's what's the outcome. And this is just another path to get to that outcome. And there'll be another one, you know, in 10 years, there'll be a different version of it. But for now, so just same as you, I'm loving it. Obviously we would be classed, I guess, as early adopters, doing it right at the beginning when a new piece of tech comes out. And so it's like when you're almost having to convince people of two things before. One is, let me convince you of what it is I do and, you know, product and services, but then also let me convince you it's a good idea to jump on a video call with me. Whereas now the first or the second, the video call, that you don't have to convince somebody of that. That'll just be normal now. Be like, yeah, cool. I've already got Zoom. So it's not like there's two hurdles. It's just the one hurdle now, which is actually the point, which is, let me tell you about what we do. So you said your week's been sort of focused on doing calls and things like that.
Yeah, just a really great week. I've brought another 8 people into my team at the front end, and my actual network's grown by over 1,500 people, nearly close to 2,000 people globally.
Right. Yeah. Amazing.
which is incredible. And we talk a lot in our business about, you know, you get paid tomorrow, and it's our podcast slogan anyway, get paid tomorrow for what you do today. And that is the deal with what we do. And I was on a call the other night because some of my team, their partners are going to them, oh, you haven't been earning any money. And now it's kicked in for a lot of people. That's what I've been trying to explain. Like, a jumbo jet isn't just you putting your seatbelt on and taking off and going to New York. So much work goes into that flight before you've even got to the airport.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same thing with our business. You don't get paid for a lot of the stuff that you do at the beginning. I'm getting paid now for doing what I did last year, the year before that, the year before that. So it's all credibility in the back. And that's any business, by the way. Those phone conversations that you had, you know, we were just talking off air about a conversation you had with someone 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and now the time's right for them. So that was value in the bank. Getting paid. You always get paid later for what you do today. Isaac Newton said it, the physicist. He said for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever you do in life will show up somewhere later on down the line. It has to.
Do you know what? It even isn't that physics thing, because 9 times out of 10, it shows up bigger and better. So, like, if you always show up to the universe, like, you know, we spoke about this before, like, I'm not religious in any way, but I'm a big believer that when you set a goal and you want to achieve something, that The Alchemist obviously is a great book that, you know, we've all read, is like, the universe just conspires to put things in the right place at the right time and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, sometimes, I know Tony Robbins talks this about a lot, that the time when you're in the worst point is just before you have the biggest breakthrough. So like when you're in the worst, and that's kind of what the universe does, is it almost tests you to like a breaking point of how hard can you get, and then it gives you the opportunity. And like, you've got to be, the other thing is you've got to be willing to accept that opportunity, because people get opportunities all the time and they don't accept them, and, you know, different things like that. But I think that's the key thing, is if you always show up, the person who is willing to hustle the most always catches the loose ball, like Will Smith says. If you're always there putting the work in, then at some point it's going to come back around, and people are going to think, they're going to see that tip of the iceberg and go, oh, they were lucky. They were in the right place at the right time. But you're right, they were in the right place at the right time, but they turned up 1,000 times and it wasn't the right place at the right time. And it just happened to be that 1,001, it absolutely was. So you're right. And that's life, right? You put good energy out to the world all the time. Eventually it comes back. And most of the time it's tenfold, 20-fold. It's not just, you know, one for one sort of thing. So you were mentioning before we sort of jumped on this call about, you got inspired by, you know, Tim Ferris and different things like that. So yeah, talk me through what you were thinking.
No, so I'm reading this book at the minute, Tribe of Mentors. There it is for the viewers, for the listeners.
It's a big book as well. Like, it is a big book.
Yeah, it's a big. So if you're not watching this, then you won't know what I'm showing you. So you need to go and watch.
You need to go and subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe and tag your friends in it or whatever. But Tim Ferris, basically, I'll just read you the intro. So this book.
Story time with John.
Yeah, here we go.
Gather around the campfire.
So this book, I'm not going to read it all.
Well, not the whole book. You're not going to read the whole book. All right, fair enough. You know,
I'm not like Johnny Five. So
I have no clue who that is.
Yeah, it's like this robot from I can't remember what film it is, but the older listeners will know Johnny Five was like this robot that could read a book in 2 seconds. So 2017 was an unusual year for me. So he's basically saying that he had a tough year, and he was looking for some answers. So he went and asked some people some questions, and he decided to find the top mentors and ask them these questions. So I'm not going to go into them. So he asked them 11 questions about different things, and then he shares their answers within this book. So, and he's asking like top people in this book. You know, some of the people that are in it are just mind blowing. You've got Bear Grylls in here. You've got Tom Peters, Gary Vaynerchuk. You've got Tony Robbins. You've got some people that I've like reading this, I've never heard of them. And then when you read the bio about who they are, you're like, wow. Matt Fraser in here, the top CrossFit athlete. So one of the questions that he asked them is this, and we thought it'd be a good idea to ask each other. So, in fact, I'm going to change it because we've prepared for it. So actually, I'm gonna trick. I've just decided to do this now.
That's fine. That's fine.
So the question that I was going to ask was, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made for less than $100? That's had a positive impact on your life in the last 6 months. But I'm not going to ask that one now because we kind of discussed it with
cheated. We did. We cheated.
You've done your ring. You talked about your magic.
Yeah. This is the last 6 months for me. This is the thing, and it's only in the last month. And holy moly, has it changed everything. And like you were saying is, all right, I'm recording all the stats it's spitting out. That's fine. But because I know it's there, I can feel it, I can see it. My focus is just, it's like I'm almost doing it for the ring. It's like Lord of the Rings. I'm like possessed. But it's just, I'm so laser focused now. So for me, this would be that item in the last, whatever. 12.
Yeah, and mine was going to be a pair of rusty dumbbells that my friend brought around and lent me to train with. So kind of done that one. We've mentioned it before. So I've just seen this question, which would be quite cool for you to answer. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or billions, what would it say and why? It could be a few words or a paragraph.
I've got it straight away. So I always talk about the fact that if you want to be successful in anything, you just need two things: a list of goals and the self-esteem that you can do it. So the billboard I would have is basically saying that if you want to be successful,
I hope they're stuck in a traffic jam.
No, but I'm going to summarize it.
Oh, right, okay. If you want to be road accidents, it'll be a joke. Everyone's just like that. It's not even like, right, remember when they put really hot girls on the billboards somewhere in the UK, and they had to take them down because it was causing loads of accidents.
Crashes, really.
Yours would be the same, but people are just reading, it's just, why were you late for work? Oh, I was reading Mark's billboard.
The actual Bible, yeah. No, what it would say is, want to be successful, ? Set some goals and build your self-esteem. And then you got to think, okay, well, how do I do those two things, right? So building your self-esteem is you can read books, you learn new skills, your self-esteem goes up, your fear goes down because we're only fearful of things we can't control. If you learn more skills, you can control things better. Another way of building self-esteem is get around people that also have good self-esteems, that are goal-setting, focused, oriented people. So that will build your self-esteem. They will help, because when we spoke about this before, people either build you up or pull you down. Nobody keeps you the same. So you get around more people. So that's it. That's the message for me. And that's what I would put out to the world is you want to be successful, set some goals and build your self-esteem. What would be on your billboard then?
All right. I've got to outdo you with, I'm going to try and outdo you with length of paragraph. I've asked you the question. I haven't thought the answer myself. There's loads of quotes that I love. One of which is, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
But I would actually have, the question what I would have is this: are you happy? And then there'd be an arrow, and it'd go to yes, and it would say, if the answer is yes, keep doing what you're doing, basically. Are you happy? Yes. An arrow, keep doing what you're doing. An arrow down, no, and then in massive letters, change something. And that's what I would have, because there's so many people that are unhappy in this world right now. They're unhappy with their health. They're unhappy with their jobs. They're unhappy with their relationships. They're unhappy with the circumstances, but they are not willing to change. And I don't think they realize, a lot of people don't realize that they can change. You can literally change in a second, right? That is it. Enough is enough. I did it so many times in my career where things have happened, and I'm just like, that's it. I've got to change.
Mate, that's what literally happened to me 3 weeks ago. It was one of these changes. Bam, I'm changing. I'm focused. I'm done.
Yeah. So it's that. And how many times, the more kind of times I look back on the successes that I've had, is always when I've made a change to move me away from something that wasn't fulfilling me and take me towards something that was. And it was me making that decision to change. I'll never forget my decision to leave working at a big gym was another staff member kicking me out of one of the studios, going, "You can't train your clients in here. You don't pay the rent for this." And I was like, "What? You only pay rent to work in the gym. You don't get access to the studio, so you need to leave." I was like, "Oh, right, okay, cool." And that moment, I went, "Right, I can't do this anymore. I need to find another space." So I was grateful that that person said that to me, because that made me realize that I needed to change. So what do I now need to do? Well, number one, I need to change my vision, because I can't do what I really want to do here forever. Number two, I need to work harder so I can get more money, because if I take on a premises, then my rates and my rent are going to go up. So it was almost like, right, I need to change. What's the plan? So are you happy? Yes, keep doing what you're doing. No, change something. And then the next bit would probably be, now you need a plan to change.
This is on the second billboard alone.
It might have to have one later on down the line.
But that's similar,
yeah.
that message.
True.
I was just going to say that message is very similar to, like, there's a flow chart sort of similar that's kind of like, is something worrying you or something like that? And it's like, yes. And it's like, can you do something about it? And the answer's like, yes, then stop worrying. And if the answer's no, it's like, well, stop worrying, because you can't do anything about it. So it's like, you can always, like, it doesn't matter. If you can control something, then control it. Go after it.
It's this scenario, right? This whole coronavirus, that you could apply that to that whole thing. Are you worrying about something? Coronavirus. Can you control it? Well, yes and no. Okay, well, stop worrying about it.
Yeah. And that's it. So I actually like this. So is there another question you want to ask? That was quite good. We could fire off another if you found one. Is it?
Okay, there's another one here. What is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
I think all my habits are quite boring. What do I love? I mean, some of the new habits, I love meditating, but that's not really weird. I don't know. Come back to me. You go first this time. And
mine, it's not really unusual, but I love sunsets. Like, I'm a big sunset fan. I'll always try and catch a sunset if I can.
Right. Okay.
Everyone's different, but if I get a moment to just take in a sunset, I always will. I'm always taking pictures of them. I'm always filming them, sending them to, like, people that like sunsets, people that I know, not just randomers. But yeah, I just find something magical about a sunset, and kind of that close in it of a day. And then that period, I don't know if it's
golden hour, it's called.
Yeah, that thing where it's just like the sun's gone, and being in Tenerife at the minute, you get the most amazing sunsets. It literally drops into the ocean, and then the light comes up, and usually, because it can be cloudy, the light kind of hits the clouds, just phenomenal. So that's one of them. But also, I'd never seen a sunrise come out of the sea before until I was on the Gold Coast in Australia, and I was so jet lagged, and I had to do an 8 o'clock call UK time. And I woke up at 5 a.m. I was tired anyway, so it's kept like waking up, go back to sleep, wake up, go back to sleep. Got to be up to do this call, 6 o'clock. Did the call, and it just so happened, and it was their winter, and it was like, wow, the sunrise is coming. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and walk to the beach. And I just walked to the beach, and I wasn't expecting it. I'd never seen it before in my life, and the beach was absolutely packed. Like, people were people were out walking there, and there was like a little coffee shack on the beach, place called Burleigh Beach on the Gold Coast, one of the most amazing places. And the queues for, like, people getting a coffee, and there were so many people that just got up. They get up early to enjoy the sunset. And Grant Cardone talks about it, I think. He says,
beating the sun up. Yeah.
Beat the sun. I'm I'm doing that at the minute, but I've never really been that bothered about a sunrise. I've always loved the sunset, but I've never really been. Anyway, it was unbelievable. Like out of nowhere, you're just watching the ocean, and then the sun just starts to come up, and it was just phenomenal. So when I was there, I made a point of getting up early enough to see that every single day, and just so yeah, sunsets is probably not an unusual habit, 'cause it's not really unusual or absurd. So
no, but it's something you like you say, and to be fair, again, not something that's weird, but I'm not really that bothered about sunsets. I think they look great. I'm definitely not going to argue that. But my equivalent to that is I love city views. So like quite often the background of my computer screen is like a view over LA, and I love them at night. So I love a city view at night. It doesn't really matter. New York's the same. Beijing, Hong Kong, some amazing cities. And I love basically a cityscape at night. And I just love viewing them. So I remember when we went to New York, and you drive over that bridge, don't you? I can't remember which one it is. And like the New York skyline just comes into view. And I just remember my heart skipped a beat. It was like bizarre.
Yeah. That's one of the best. That is probably one of the best journeys from an airport to a place.
Yeah.
Like where you're just going along. I think you go through Queens. I'm sure it's Queens.
I think it is. No, I think it is. Yeah.
You go over this bridge, and then bam, there is the skyline of New York. And obviously, first time you go, you've seen it a million times on so many movies, and then you're in it. It's one of the only places where you are in New York, I think, where you just you feel like you're in a movie set.
Yeah.
Like you're.
Well, apart from actually being in Hollywood, I suppose, where you are in a movie set.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's like you've seen it so many times. Maybe that's what it is that you've seen it so many times that, when you see that first time, it's like, wow, it's like you've been here before, but you haven't. Like it's pretty amazing. But anyway, have you got one to close off? One final question?
Yeah, I've just looked at it now because we've got to wrap this up. So, what are bad recommendations you hear in your profession or area of expertise?
So a big thing for us is that some people think that just having an online presence or just having a website is more important than that website looking good and being up to date and stuff like that. So what I'm sort of saying is that a bad recommendation that people give is just get a website, just get on social. But if you've got no plan or strategy behind it, it can actually be detrimental, because you can, to your peers and people who know you by word of mouth, you might look amazing to them, and then you create a shoddy website or terrible social media. Their opinion of you drops, because you're not posting well, or say the website's terrible. So yeah, I think that's a bad recommendation, because the actual answer is, if you're not going to utilize your website for it to look good and make you look good online, then don't. It's like having a bad website is if your profession, you wear a suit every single day, and then you just decide one day you're going to start wearing jogger bottoms and trainers. Everyone you do business with is going to be like, what the hell? I'm not buying from this person, because you don't match the thing. That's online is just your online portrayal of exactly you. So if you go from wearing a suit all day offline, and then online your presence looks like the equivalent of joggy bottoms and a t-shirt, then the people who are used to buying you from a level of suits, they'll look at your website and go, I'm not buying from this person, even though that would be the wrong, I guess.
So what you're trying to say is their brand doesn't match their...
Right, exactly. Or it's just the fact that some people post on social media for the sake of it. And I'm sort of saying it's better not to post on social.
Right, okay.
Or it's better not to have that website.
Better to get it right than rushed.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So a bad bit of advice is, you just need a website. You just need to be on social. Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be bad for you to be on those things. So what about you? Yeah, what's something in your profession that...
My worst one, and I fell foul to this one actually, is this myth of beach money, which gets misconstrued. So there's a great book by Jordan Adler, who I've met a couple of times, really nice guy. And he wrote this book called Beach Money. Now, the title sounds amazing, right? Sit at the beach and make money. The book is very, very good. But then there's this myth about network marketing, which is work for a little bit and then do nothing, and you'll continue to get paid forever, which is the biggest curse, the biggest, worst piece of advice you could ever give somebody. Because like anything in life, as soon as you stop doing what you were doing to get where you got, you're going to fall back. So it's almost like if you've ever got a balloon, you get the balloon and you can throw the balloon up in the air and the balloon will stay in the air. It won't fall down like a ball would. The balloon's got air in it, so it'll stay up a little bit, but over time, if you don't knock it back up again, it'll come down and eventually it'll hit the floor. So I've been doing this business over 10 years now, and I've never, ever stopped working the business because I didn't want to fall into this trap of beach money. But I think giving that message out sometimes without completing the story, almost saying like beach money means that you can go on holiday for 2 weeks, go on holiday for a month and work from the beach and still make money, rather than you can disappear to a beach for 6 months and then come back and the business will be better. Sometimes it happens that way. I've known people, because their leadership team was so good, that they did disappear. But what that message does sometimes is it gets people to slow down. It's
people follow what you do, though, right? They follow what you do, not what you say.
People do what you do. So if you take up your foot off the gas, then everybody else will. And it's like the gym, you know, you can get a six pack, and then if you go back to doing what you were doing before, then your six pack's soon going to disappear and the fat's going to show up again. So the beach money concept is amazing, but the advice around it that people don't tell the full picture of is the bit that is the missing link. So it's kind of not wrong advice. It's like, if you're going to mention beach money, make sure you tell the full story, that you continue to work, you continue to. I've got an amazing business. I'm having a massive growth year, 2020, right? I'm working harder than I've ever worked on my business right now. I'm doing more calls than I've ever done meetings. Why? To go back to your point at the beginning, because it's easier. I couldn't do, like yesterday, I did 6 back-to-back Zoom calls with people that want to get involved. I would never have been able to do that before Zoom existed. I remember once driving from Manchester to Liverpool to meet 2 personal trainers that were interested. And then they were like, right, I'll think about it. I'm like, what? You're going to think about it? I've driven 2 hours here, spent 2 hours with you. Now I've got to drive 2 hours back.
2 hours from Manchester to Liverpool? Bloody hell. Were you walking?
No, it was just bad traffic. I was reading your billboard.
but also, I think you're so true about that. There's such a thing as residual income, but not passive. You know what I mean? There's a difference. Even people like Warren Buffett, I know that he could probably make plenty of money off interest and things like that. But at the end of the day, he still goes to work every day and turns up and still, because I guess one for the sport. But like, if you stop anything, stop looking at anything, stop putting time into anything, eventually, just like the balloon, great analogy actually, because with the balloon analogy, what's perfect about that is that, all right, it takes more energy to get it off the ground the first time, but then it's just little bits of energy, but just constantly adding those little bits of energy. So
the
yeah.
other thing as well, I was just reading back to the other question, what's an unusual habit? Like me and you both have the same thing. We don't actually like holidays, so it kind of ties in with the beach. We don't actually enjoy. I don't actually enjoy holidays where what you would class as a holiday of
cutting off from things.
Yeah, I've tried it before and I hated it, cutting off. I once did 7 days without my phone being on. It was horrific. So again, you learn this stuff as you go, but I love to do a little bit of something to build my business every single day because I love my business. So the thought of a beach money sitting there doing nothing all day would drive me absolutely
insane. Exactly.
So,
and also,
same.
Yeah, same. And it's like, that's why, I know it sounds so weird, but I'm almost thriving now. Like, I love the fact that everyone's kind of locked down, because I love being at home, getting the work done. And like, that's what sort of drives me, if that makes sense. All right, don't get me wrong. I'd rather be doing this in LA, looking over the view or whatever, but I'd still be inside working, but just that'd be a different backdrop. And it's like, I want to create a life that I don't want a holiday from. The life itself is the holiday. I wake up when I want to wake up. I can have the morning routine that I want to have, whether that include, I can have a chef, I can have all the things that I guess you would think is what you get from a holiday. I want to build into my life anyway, that at any point you can do anything you want with anyone that you want. And it's like, you don't need a holiday to do that. You just need 20 years of smashing it out, basically hard work. And then you can have that life every single day. There are plenty of people out there that live every single day better than most people holiday. And they live that every day, and it's 10 times better than what people dream of as the best holiday ever. And they're living 10 times better than that as a daily routine.
And just having that thing as well, like, and you'll relate to this, like when you don't love your job, you get post-holiday blues. So whenever you come back off the holiday, you start thinking about it. Oh my, almost the best day of your holiday when you hate your job is the day that you're at the airport, because you've got all this free time to look forward to. The hope of like the best holiday ever. And then as the holiday goes on, it's like, and then you've got a day left and you're like, shit, I've got to get all these emails. I've got to do whatever it is that your job was. I used to do it. I used to think, oh, I've got to go and do this now. And then now I don't actually, like, the cool thing is that if you love what you do, I don't ever now think, oh God, it's Monday tomorrow, or oh no, my holiday's over. I just look forward to building my business, and it's part of my daily non-negotiable, just to do something, just to do a little bit, whether it's
move the needle. Yeah. And it's that consistency that, like, you don't have to,
keep
success.
That balloon up, I guess.
Exactly. Success isn't massive things. It's just little things completed every single day. That's, what it is. But anyway, that's been a good 30 minutes. I like this approach of doing questions. I think we should do that another time, like with a list of questions. That's quite fun. So yeah, maybe that's a weird habit that we have, is that we sit on a call like this and just record our ramblings.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, guys, we will see you next week.
The Extra 10% Podcast. Remember to like the John and Mark Facebook page on Facebook, or visit johnandmark.co.uk for exclusive updates and content. Why not share this podcast with a friend and help them get paid tomorrow for what they do today?